I don't think people are aware, but during the awakening path, there are different phases we go through. And of course, this is not a method, this is not linear, this is not something that is, is not like science. It's just what I've been observing, working with clients in the last 7 years, and on myself, on my own spiritual path. But there is different phases, and in these different phases we go through different understanding and we go deeper and deeper in seeing the nature of who we really are. And so what happened in the beginning is that we see for the first time that we are not our thoughts and not our emotions. And it's very interesting because in this first stage of the awakening, things are still intellectualized, things are still concept, and there is a part in us that is understanding them deeper. And this is why we kind of want to continue to look in that direction. But in some way, there is still a lot of mind interpreting things. So this is the very first stage of awakening. And then we progress and we advance and we observe that while we were observing our thought, there was an observer, and we believed that the observer, we didn't realize that the observer was also the voice of the mind. And for the first time we realized, oh, also the observer is not me. So who's this voice that is judging what is happening is sufferance, is creating sufferance because it's still the mind. And we progress again. And there is a particular stage in our awakening. There is the part and the moment when you can't not think anymore your way out of the mind. You can not just say, oh, I'm consciousness and this is just emotion, this is just thoughts, and I'm the all. And this, sometimes people use this way as a spiritual bypass sometimes, and it's very normal. It happened to me too at the beginning. Realizing this, I was avoiding emotion because this is what the mind does. The mind wants to avoid emotion. The mind is trying constantly to avoid to feel. And so it takes advantage of these teachings for the first time that we understand this. Is like, oh, I'm not my thought, I'm not my emotion, I'm consciousness. So this is not important, this is not important. And what this causes is that we are not actually growing in our spiritual path. We get stuck there. And one point, life that is always perfect, God invite us to feel. There is no escape. What happened to me is exactly that. I was maybe practicing non-duality for 6 months, my first 6 months, knowing these teachings. And I remember I was really into it with a friend of mine that also was really into it. And so many times we were calling out each other like, oh, this is just your mind, this is just your mind, oh, this is just your mind. And this became a thing where we were actually bypassing feelings. We weren't feeling the feeling, just saying, oh, this is just my mind creating it. And this went on for at least 6 months. And then life hit me so hard. I remember I went to India, and I went to India with the expectation of finding some truth or seeing my real nature, connecting more with my true self. And actually, the opposite happened. Maybe not the opposite, maybe it was exactly what it was supposed to happen in order for me to see deeper. But it was very hard in India with the people I was with at the time. I was abusive, violent, everything that I had to feel at that time came up. And for the following, I would say maybe 1 year, 2 years, I started a new relationship, and it was so hard for my mind to find peace in that relationship. There was, and it is still, a very healthy relationship. But the only thing I've been knowing since then was chaos. And because the only thing my mind knows was chaos, it was still trying to find drama and chaos, and it wasn't used to peace. And so all the emotion that I had to heal, and all the trauma that it wasn't addressed until then, in that moment of my life, for at least 1 year and a half, came up. And I remember waking up some mornings already crying without knowing why I was crying. I remember feeling zero motivation, completely lost. It was a very hard time for the mind. In reality, everything that was happening, it was perfect, but I didn't have the capacity to see it through the lens that I can see and understanding today, because I'm in another stage of awakening. But that stage in particular of awakening was necessary for me in order to heal emotions, because if we don't heal those emotions stuck in our nervous system and all this trauma that is there, I truly believe we can't go and pass through a new stage of awakening in which we can see deeper and deeper who we really are. And so, what an amazing and perfect opportunity life will invite us to, we put in our path and invite us to heal and to transcend and to alchemize all these emotions that are stuck. And so how we do that, how actually I did that, it was coming back to my body and amplify my capacity to feel. So if all our childhood or early age, when we are really young, we are trying to escape this hard feeling that we've been experiencing due to our attachment style with our parents, and then life repeating the trauma in order for us to heal it. In that moment, in that stage of awakening, we can't escape it anymore. We have to feel it. But feeling it can be very, very scary and very, very difficult for most of us, because we never felt. We never actually open ourselves to feel. We always stayed in the mind analyzing and judging and interpreting and having a narrative on the feeling. So being in the body and actually feeling the sensation, feeling the feeling can be so, so hard. So in this stage, in this period of my time, what was very helpful was a kind of therapy that I did, that then I create my own therapy that mix non-duality and that kind of therapy, an holistic therapy that I've been creating. I did a therapy that was allowing me little by little, step by step, to get in touch with the wounded parts, get in touch with the scared part, and amplifying little by little my capacity to stay with them, to mother them, to bring them up and letting them be there. At the beginning, this was done through the going deep in the body, feeling the feeling, and asking the feeling to be in front of me, and talking to the feeling, and listening to the feeling, and being present with the feeling, talking to the feeling from a perspective of self, from a perspective of God, of I am the higher self, speaking to this part that is hard, that is scared, that needs my compassion, that needs my understanding. And this went on and on for at least 1 year and a half. And it was precious at the time in order for me to process trauma. Once this was done, or anyway, I felt that I was done with the process, what is being left, it was the capacity to stay with the sensation in the body without having to put it outside of me, talking to the part, listening why she's scared, why she's worried, I don't need to do that anymore, just because there is no need for me to use the tool of the mind in that situation. In situation where emotions comes to surface, emotion emerge in the space that I am, there is already this statement that I said, in the space that I am present in my understanding, in my energy, I know that these emotions are not me. I'm not the center of what is happening. And that's the biggest shift that has happened, thanks to the fact that previously I experienced the sensation and transmute the trauma and alchemize all these emotions. So now what happened is the emotion emerges and I let them be there, and there is not a me that is experiencing all this. It's not personal, it's not happening to me. The narrative is there, and sometimes, according to also my cycle, the narrative can be very strong, but it's like a dance that I see the narrative and I see the emotion and I let the narrative and the emotion be there without paying attention to it, without interacting to it, without taking it seriously, without believing that there is a me that is experiencing all that. And I come constantly to this center where I let the sensation be there, the pure raw sensation. There's no me that is feeling the sensation. There's no emotion and name and character and person that is feeling that. It's pure sensation. It's just body sensation. The thing in my stomach, the thing in my belly, the thing in my head, the thing in my throat. And I just stay very curious and I let it be there. The time that it wants to be there, it wants to burn, it wants to move, he wants to explode, he wants to do whatever he wants to do. And I'm just the space in which all this is happening. I'm not identified with it. I'm not thinking this is happening to me. I'm not in the need of putting the part in front of me, talking to the part and telling the part, oh, how are you feeling, why you're sad, because there's no story anymore. The story is not important anymore. But again, I could achieve that stage of awakening and that stage of consciousness and presence with my sensation, and understanding there's not a me here, just because I experience, and I'm pretty sure I experience the pain, the emotion, the trauma that it had to be experienced before, previously, is a part that is necessary for us to evolve. And again, many spiritual people avoid that part, going into the spiritual bypass that is, I'm not the mind, I'm the emotions, this is just the mind. In fact, what happened is that that friend that I was having this conversation with, she stayed more in that side, or this is just my mind, this is just my mind, and dismissing and gaslighting her own emotions. And I had to, in some way, or life anyway, brought me to feel my feelings and stay with everything that was there that was supposed to be felt for real this time, and to be healed. And so after that, I achieved another stage of the awakening, another understanding of who I really am. I could see deeper of my true nature. I could see deeper the self that I am. I could see deeper the illusion, all things that I could achieve, even if we are not achieving anything, only because I felt what it was needed to be felt, because I took the invitation of life of feeling, amplifying my capacity to feel. And if you need help with that, if you are in that stage, if you are still in the process of healing traumas and want to go deeper in this understanding, in this self-inquiry, please reach out. This is something that I do in one-to-one. I also train people, so they are trained to my method and they can also help you. And we just continue to amplify our capacity to feel, heal the trauma, and continue to look deeper in their direction of, is this really who I am? Is there a person that experienced the trauma? Where is this person? Is this me? or am I something else? We play in both fields, in the body, in the emotion, in the nervous system, what it needs to be healed and felt, and in the realm of who am I really? Am I dead? Or there's something else, something bigger? I always says 1 foot in humanity, 1 foot in consciousness. Thank you for listening to me. If you like this video, please, it would really help me if you put a thumb up or a little comment, and we talk soon.